following video was captured by two night workers who were on their way home from a job site. They noticed a man hiking up a pitch-black road and were really confused.
Está bien, oiga. No puedo creerlo. Chango, qué miedo.
They shined the light on him and tried to communicate, but he keeps staring into the darkness and slowly makes his way further up the mountain in total darkness. Both men were really unsettled at this point.
¿Cómo va a ver el señor si no se ve absolutamente nada? Mira, apaga las luces. Nada.
Chango. Vamos a regresar, mi chango, mejor. Ahí va, loco. Ese viejito está mal, chango.
After driving back to double check that the man was still going, they confirmed that he was still walking up that road in pitch darkness. To this day, they have no explanation for what was going on and believe that the man was either ill or that something else must have been going on. Several months back, a guy relocated to a fresh property in an isolated location away from urban areas in search for calm and silence. One afternoon, a tiny homeless kitten appears at his entrance. He chooses to film himself interacting with the cat. Simply a nice moment to record on video, but while he's filming, something shows up in the meadow behind him that he doesn't spot initially. This is what he recorded on video.
I'm gonna go look over. Real quick. Y'all see it? Oh, y'all see that shit? Is this disappearing? Nobody at all. What the fuck?
The shadowy shape stands completely still in the wide meadow, looking straight at him. The shape rotates and moves away, vanishing from sight. He sprints toward where it was positioned, attempting to figure out what it was. But when he arrives at the location, there's absolutely nothing present. It might have been someone attempting to frighten him, aside from what occurs afterward.
Oh my god, guys. I don't know what the going on. I just walked the There's like footprints, footsteps. Listen to this shit, can y'all hear it? What? Oh hell no, what the that dog? Hold up. Alright yo, I gotta check this out. What the hell? Nobody out here. Nobody out here, what? I gotta go get my mom. Oh, what the f?
Later that evening, intense pounding can be picked up at his entrance. He carefully gets closer and pulls the door open, but there's nobody outside. Though when he spins back around, that identical shadowy shape is currently inside his property, positioned in the corridor behind him, observing. Plenty of people watching think that by pulling the door open, he allowed something to enter because following that evening, the strange occurrences only get worse.
So I got told to go talk to it. So I'm gonna go talk to it. It's all this I can't see. I see a few trees. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's dark as yeah. And scary as hell. Oh hell no, what? Hell no.
Several days afterward, the shape shows up once more. Whatever tracked him to his property that afternoon with the kitten has made it obvious it's not going anywhere.
Oh hell no, what the that? What the oh no.
What a spooky encounter. A young woman states that ever since moving into a new home, she noticed a strange copy of herself standing right behind her whenever she is seeing herself reflecting in the upstairs window.
So you can see this is me, and there's a glass, and you can see that there's a shape that looks like a person, but there's definitely there's no way there could be someone standing there. It kind of looks like me. It kind of looks like me.
It does look indeed like another woman is standing right behind her. One would assume that it's perhaps just one of her friends, or a family member playing a prank on her, which is when the woman created a follow-up video shortly after.
So she's back. The last time I made this video, people were saying that it's my double reflection. But I'm just gonna put up my hand here. Yeah, the sage has worn off.
She stated that she cleansed her home with sage, which apparently helped her to get rid of this for several weeks, before she mysteriously returned. It is unknown if this is something inexplicable at all. It certainly spooked out a lot of people who are following this case. What is your opinion? The upcoming 3 clips come from a woman called Sydney. She, along with her relatives, were staying at a vacation rental for 7 days when they began dealing with intense supernatural occurrences or ghostly disturbances in the vacation rental. Everything started off with their pet, then the tapping sounds which they attempted to record on video, and then something completely horrifying took place.
And when we came in, we heard Jesus Christ.
Something seemed to have moved the balloons on the second floor, which seemed extremely unnatural at the time. Sydney can hear some inexplicable footsteps right behind her, which means something invisible was making its way up the stairs. And just to make it even worse, her dog's leash gets grabbed and thrown in the air. In Sydney's mind, there was no reasonable explanation for this. Then she posted the following clip.
Scary. Okay. Okay, every time we've knocked before, this doorknob would turn a little bit.
Sydney seemed to have her sister with her, and both documented the paranormal encounters they faced this night. Sydney got so startled after something pulled the phone away that she left it behind on the floor as she was making a run for it. She was apparently terrified, and something invisible seemed to then grab her phone and move it around in some really creepy fashion. Sydney thinks that whatever it was certainly had evil intentions. Then she posted another entry.
There's no reason for me to go down there. But I'm waiting to start hearing things from coming underneath my house. That's it. I'm out of here. Going through the door. Okay, well. Door two. Thank you.
It turns out that whatever yanked the phone had thrown it all the way down the stairs, and given that the door was closed, that was impossible for any living person to do. So, do we have to assume that a ghost did this to her? Who knows what is living in this vacation rental? Do you have an explanation for this? We'll keep our eyes open for potential updates. In this footage, a dad brings his 2 children to the play area for a nice afternoon. But while he films them having fun on the slider, his device unintentionally captures something that sends chills down his spine. Initially, nothing appears strange, it's simply another home recording. But when he reviews the recording later that evening, he picks up something deeply disturbing.
Go! Come on! Come on, go! Come on! I've seen this before in a game.
While the recording plays, a ghostly voice can be picked up in the background.
Go! Go!
Now, based on what the dad says, he didn't pick up anything unusual during the moment. He assumed his children didn't pick up anything either, but then he spots something troubling in the recording. Right before she goes down, his daughter abruptly stops moving. She appears to be staring at something beyond the frame, as though she's witnessing something the grown-ups cannot. This occurs at the precise moment the voice can be picked up calling for assistance. The dad has no answer for the voice on the footage, or why his daughter appears so scared during that moment, but he is now convinced that something was at the play area with them. Now, the upcoming footage was filmed by a grandmother who resides by herself with her dog and 2 cats, though it seems her animals aren't the only ones providing her companionship. Based on what she says, there's something in her residence that keeps bothering her.
В зеркале было отражение чего-то не очень непонятного. На видео. Я вам всем докажу.
Based on what Paulina says, the previous evening, she filmed footage of something that showed up in her bedroom. It materialized in the identical location, where it frequently shows up near the looking glass. She's been attempting to capture it on video as her relatives think it's nothing. They think it's her age that's causing her to have visions. But after viewing this footage, they're not as certain anymore if that's what's happening.
Уходи отсюда. Я тебя не боюсь. Уходи отсюда. Уходи из моего дома. Уходи. Я тебя не боюсь. Уходи отсюда. Уходи отсюда. Я тебя не боюсь. Уходи. Уходи, я сказала. Уходи отсюда. Уходи. Я тебя не боюсь.
Paulina was slowly realizing that what she'd witnessed could simply not be explained. her hanging decoration under the light fixture then started moving by itself, though it wasn't simply swinging side to side. It was bending upward in an odd way. Neither air movement nor a breeze could trigger. Now, whatever took place that evening is something that stays unclear. In any situation, whether ghostly or not, simply witnessing this suddenly is disturbing. But one evening, Paulina chooses to film once more because evidently she spotted the identical shape hiding within her chimney. What appears to be a head abruptly shows up in the chimney. And the most disturbing aspect is that it reveals itself precisely when Paulina begins to move closer. It's as though whatever this was had sensed she was getting near. Naturally, she was disturbed by this, but even more so, returning to the location and seeing the chimney. What she once witnessed at first has now vanished. Now, at this moment, no new fresh footage has been posted by Paulina. Whether ghostly or something different, these two clips are beyond question, quite frightening. Now, the next clip is from a new mom who goes by Akina. Since welcoming her baby into the world, she's been sharing tons of footage with her little boy online. Being her first experience as a parent, you can understand why she'd be eager to film everything about her son, Panko. Whether it's his birth or getting his brand new play space, Akina loves sharing these sweet moments with Panko across her social media. But not everything gets uploaded, and there's definitely a reason for that. Back in January at around 2:30 in the morning, Akina was asleep, completely knocked out, when something in her room suddenly woke her up. Lucky for little Panka, he had no clue what was going down, because what happened next was legitimately terrifying. Now, you can see why Akina hesitated before sharing this online. Beyond just watching that door swing open and slam shut without anyone touching it, there's another note that Akina brings up that makes this way scarier. She claims that while this was happening, she saw someone standing right there in the doorway who looked exactly like her husband. Here's where it gets weird though. Her husband was still at work. He wouldn't be home for hours, yet somehow Akina swears he was right there, just watching her from across the room. Obviously, there's nobody visible in the shot, but here's the thing. If you really focus on the audio, Akina's house alarm starts blaring like someone just broke in. That's why she bolts out of the room to shut it off and catch up with her husband, who she thinks is walking off. But from here, things take a really creepy turn, because right after, she's behaving super strangely. She just stands frozen in the doorway, then suddenly rushes in and plops down, all awkward and stiff. It's like Anna became a totally different person. Turns out though, she was just terrified, because when she went downstairs looking for her husband, every single light was off and the front door was still locked tight. Her husband? Still at work, nowhere near home. Now, completely freaked out, she hurries back upstairs and sits there, trying to process what just happened. If he wasn't home, who did she see? She's been stuck on this moment ever since, even though it happened months ago. Until she gets answers, she's keeping this video up, while continuing to share cute clips of her son. Right now, nobody knows what really went down that night. Now to a video of an aunt that films her niece eating breakfast at the kitchen table. It's a seemingly harmless video recorded a while back. But even today, this recording continues to haunt the aunt's thoughts, as what got captured here is genuinely chilling. Like something straight out of a horror movie, a dark silhouette passes in the background, moving slowly, which somehow makes it even more disturbing. But what's really strange is that the light bulb seems to dim as the shadow goes by. It's as if its presence carries darkness. But that's not all, because apparently if you look closely at the fridge, you'll notice a reflection, but there's something about it that seems very weird. As many have pointed out, it appears the reflection doesn't match the girl's. It's almost as if the reflection is staring at the girl. Whether it's just a glitch or something more, this remains pretty creepy. It was during the early morning hours when surveillance cameras installed around a temple in Thailand recorded something that left those reviewing the footage speechless. At first glance, it appeared to be a small child playing alone, running and moving cheerfully through the temple courtyard. But what's strange is that he was doing this completely alone in the middle of the night, without any adult supervision. It's the behavior of a normal child. However, everything changes when the child heads up the stairs. If you pay attention, there's a kind of gate, which incredibly the child passes through without any difficulty, as if it didn't exist. He just simply goes through. When the temple officials reviewed the images, they thought it was an abandoned child who had found shelter there until they saw this incredible moment. Even when looking at the sequence more carefully, they realized his body seemed to lack weight as he moves too fast for his age. Additionally, his shadow didn't match the lighting of the place. Some believe it's the spirit of a child who once lived or died in the temple surroundings. Others think it could be a residual manifestation, an echo of the past that got trapped. You be the judge. The next footage was shown by Brakeman and submitted to them by Mari. She shared an eerie video captured during a late-night visit to a graveyard in Mexico. A couple of young people were walking through the location while streaming their adventure live among tombstones and old crypts. Everything was proceeding normally until one of their cameras captured something that would go completely unnoticed by them at that moment. They only noticed it when watching the recording. Among the graves, you can clearly see how from one of the open burial sites emerges a black shadow that appears to take human form. A dark entity which, upon noticing the presence of the young people, exits the grave quickly to vanish into the darkness. Although the image isn't as sharp as we'd like, the silhouette is perfectly distinguishable. It lacks defined edges, doesn't reflect light, and its movement is too fast, almost unnatural, as if it were fading as it moves forward. Some claim it could be a camera effect, perhaps the result of low resolution or light interference typical of the location. Others think it was simply an animal or even a person hiding behind the graves. But there are those who firmly believe that shadow doesn't belong to this world, claiming it could be a dark energy that inhabits that graveyard, manifesting only for brief seconds. What do you believe this could be? Next up is Olivia, who one night looked out the window towards her neighbors' homes. She saw a scene that kept getting more disturbing the longer she watched. A dark shape that almost seemed to float caught Olivia's eye, and even her neighbor noticed it as well. When the neighbor turned around and hurried back inside, the shadowy figure appeared to shift. By the next morning, Olivia recorded from the exact same spot where she had seen it, mainly to rule out the idea that it was some leftover Halloween decoration. It became clear it was not a decoration, not something that could be mistaken for the silhouette captured in the night. To this day, she has no explanation of what was recorded here. The next case was shared by Sandra, who began noticing something truly unusual after her mother passed. Only a few weeks after the farewell, while she was tidying her room, the following incident was recorded.
It keep happening in my house since my mom passed away. Look why. I looked underneath the drawer, I looked behind it, there's nothing making it pop out. And it seems like it's when I bring up my mom. that something happens. Mom? Okay, that's weird.
People in the comments told her to check the drawer, saying maybe her mom was trying to reach out to her. So that's exactly what she did. And it got creepy.
Okay, let's do it. I don't know what could be in this drawer. I have my bathing suits and stuff. Halloween shorts that I need to put in my Halloween stuff. Lingerie. Phone case. My Magnificent Biz. My bells are supposed to, like, I don't know, clear a room or something. I don't know. A lot of ducks for my cruise. I went on a cruise last year and I left over ones. Dog's bandana. Bra. What's this? Something my daughter got me. So I do think that this is it. If it is anything, but I'm kind of feeling like this is. I found this note that I'm going to post on top of here from my mom. And then I listen to what this plays.
After checking the drawer, she found a music box, and the song it played matched the title her mother had written in a letter.
I found this note that I'm going to post on top of here from my mom. And then I listen to what this plays.
For Sandra, that unexplained movement of the drawer was not random at all.
Okay, that's weird.
She took it as a clear sign that her mother was still there, letting her feel a presence that was subtle yet impossible to ignore. Maybe these are not simple coincidences, but an urgent attempt to remind us they have never truly gone. Who can say? Let me know in the comments. This next case is another chilling one. Now we are at Antonio's home. He shared the following clip with the following description. Apparently, his mother left with his niece to the doctor, and he stayed alone in the house. 2 hours later, he heard something inside.
Aquí. ¿Qué? ¿Quién es? ¿Ven a dónde? ¿Aquí dónde? ¿Quién es? Pero ella se fue con mami. ¿Quién es? Galilea se fue con mami.
Entities like this are often called mimics, imitators that according to many accounts can copy the voices of people you know, especially family or close friends, to confuse you, to lure you, or simply watch how you react. If you listen closely to the moment, there is a deep and sudden silence, almost as if whatever spoke realized it had been caught. But the story does not end there. A couple of nights later, the following took place.
Bueno, señores, aparte de todas las cosas raras que pasan en esta casa, y eso no es lo único. Mira, o sea, esto tapa la ventana para que no se vea de afuera para adentro, porque allá afuera lo que hay hay un monte, o sea, pila de árbol y vaina. Pues la ventana está rota justamente a la medida de 2 ojos para que alguien esté mirando por ahí, brechándome y yo aquí con el culito afuera. Entonces, la ventana está rota. La ventana está rota. El bombillo pestañea mucho. Sigan viendo. O sea, un sinnúmero de cosas que pasan aquí, que si yo no fuese un sinvergüenza, yo no dormiría hoy fácilmente. Pero como ya yo no tengo vergüenza ni nada, ya yo no le hago caso a nada de eso. Pero mira, son muchas cosas que pasan aquí. Ay. Yo te estoy diciendo a ti, que tú pones una vaina del diablo, Bombillo, préguete, bombillo. Ay, Virgen de la Alta Gracia.
The most disturbing part is that Antonio has not posted any updates. His accounts are inactive and nobody close to him has confirmed that everything is fine. Some suggest the imposter entity realized that Antonio was keeping calm and grew angry, which is why it began showing control through electrical blackouts. To prove to him that it could affect anything, there is also a more unsettling idea to consider. These entities are said to learn. Each time someone identifies them or records them, they become aware of the mistake and do not repeat it the next time. What do you think happened in the end? Sabiel posted a clip of herself moving quietly through the house and taking slow steps as she filmed each room. The reason? Some eerie activity started to unfold. The lights behind a closed door begin to blink on and off, and then stop as suddenly as they began. Sabia opens the door and peeks into the hallway to check for anyone there, but nothing turns up at all. That is exactly when the truly unsettling moment arrives.
Oh.
Ik durf echt niet.
If you watch the frame carefully, you can pick out what looks like a creepy figure lingering in the darkness. And that sends Sabia into a panic before the recording cuts off soon after. Flickering lights can sometimes come down to basic electrical problems, aging bulbs, or a bad switch, of course. The shape behind the door is tougher to write off since it looks defined and appears to move. which makes this feel less like a wiring issue and more like someone or something standing just out of view. There is always a chance the whole thing is staged, with a person hiding off camera or a setup meant to look paranormal. If not, this could be one of the more unnerving clips to surface from her quiet home. What was going on inside Sabia's place that night? Could it be a ghost or some other presence of wandering around in there? Share your take below. British Bulldog 74, who also goes by CB, shared a clip after leaving his wife's grandmother's place, where he had just wrapped up some construction work. He says the house has been empty for about 3 years. No one is supposed to be living there at all. It should have been completely vacant, but that is not what he found. Just the idea of someone or something staring out from inside an abandoned house is enough to keep anyone up at night. A second post came soon after, and it was even stranger. CB had bought a simple Polaroid camera for his daughter. While scrolling through her photos, he found one image he could not explain. He showed it to his mother-in-law, and she was horrified. The face in the photo looked just like her grandmother, who passed away in the early 1980s. When they put the camera shot next to an old portrait of the grandmother, the match was shocking. Same expression, same face shape. It is honestly chilling. CB then uploaded a third video to answer another theory. He said it was not a squatter, because he had been inside the house for 2 months before this and it was completely empty. He also pushed back on the idea that the clip was made with AI. He says he actually saw the blinds move from the corner of his eye, and that is what made him start taking photos and recording in the first place. He even climbed into the attic with a ladder and found no one there. He admits he would have preferred it to be a real intruder, because at least then he would have an answer. Right now, he has none. Finally, he posted a fourth update. In this one, he walks through the dark, empty rooms to investigate.
Hey, Missy? Miss? That was weird. Yeah. That's weird, too. What the frick is going on here, brother?
A heavy thump echoes down the hall and makes him jump. Moments later, you can hear a deep growling sound from somewhere nearby. It does not sound like the usual creaks of an old place. It sounds alive. On one side, it could be shadows, and a noise that hit at exactly the wrong moment. Maybe an animal tucked into a wall or a crawl space. Old houses can make strange sounds. On the other side, the face at the blinds and the photo that resembles a family member are hard to ignore. The way that image lines up with the old portrait gives the whole thing a ghost story vibe, like a classic tale, which is playing out through short updates. So, what is your take? Is CB dealing with a real haunting? Or is there a simpler explanation hiding somewhere inside that empty house? Josh submitted the next clip. He was mentioning that the young guy filming was taking a stroll through the nearby woods when he discovered this deserted vehicle. As he approached to get a better view, he received quite a fright. He mentions that he spotted an odd-looking creature positioned in the front seat and that it didn't appear human whatsoever. He was extremely frightened and fled from there. When he came back later, this thing had disappeared. Some suggest that it might have been a ghost that was perhaps tied to this vehicle. Could that be true?